All right, so now that we've finished our 10 essential time spending series, we're gonna move into the fun bit, which is our purpose-driven time spending. This is where we look at the time we have left, which is the majority of our time after we've, accounted for sleep, exercise, a day of rest, etc. We go, how am I gonna use this to really fulfill and propel my life vision and do some cool things here on earth? So we're going to be looking in this video about study, vocation, business, that sort of day-to-day thing that gives us our living, that educates us, that really can give us a purpose in what we do. So I'm going to be talking a bit about how we ensure we are really in the right place, spending our time wisely when we're studying, when we're working, etc., to really win. So let's start with study. Now, for me personally, when I was in high school, I wanted to do engineering and commerce as a double degree. That was always the dream. It was a high ATAR or entry score to get into uni. But I was like, I'm gonna work really hard and I'm gonna get there, and this is what I wanna do because it just seems awesome. And lo and behold, by God's grace, we got there, we got in, and it was great. But shortly into uni, a few semesters in, I started failing some engineering units. And to be honest, before that, I'd probably never failed anything academically. And I was going, what the hell is going on? Is this really for me? What am I doing with my life? And just had heaps of questions about purpose, about direction, and what I was doing. So in the end, dropped out of engineering, and I still had commerce on the side, so I was going to really go full force in that. But I had to pick a major or a specialization that I wanted to go in. And after prayer, after speaking to a lot of people, and reflecting on what I felt my life purpose was, or the direction was, I came to the conclusion that I was going to do actuarial studies, which, if you ask anyone who's done it, it's probably harder than engineering. So it was a big faith step, but I felt like this was what I needed to do to be specialized, to have that niche edge, to have the technical background to really thrive in entrepreneurship and business and these other areas that I really enjoy doing. And so went into that, and by God's grace, I've finished that degree now, finished the undergrad, and it was a journey. There were exams that I miraculously passed. But why I share this is, through that whole journey, there were points where I wasn't quite sure of where I was going, or was my study actually impactful, or what was I doing. And I encourage you, if you're looking to change course, or you go, man, I really don't know if this is what I'm meant to be doing, talk to someone. Pray about it, seek counsel, because it's important that you make that call early. But the other thing is, if you are in a course and you go, you know what, I think this is a stepping stone for something in the future, just know, guys, it is 1,000 small steps to reach your eternal destiny, not one giant leap. So just look at it from the eyes of looking back at your life vision and go, and ask yourself, does this play a small part, and does this help me learn what I need to learn to get to where I really need to go? So ask yourself these questions, ensure that you're in the right place, studying the right things. With work as well, ask yourself similar questions. My first job was at IGA, which is a supermarket here in Australia, and I was in the fruit and veg department. I was cutting watermelons, wrapping them up, doing different things like that, stacking apples, and 100% that wasn't my dream job. That wasn't where I wanted to be forever, but it was an amazing stepping stone to learn work ethics, to, just start earning an income, and, just to really learn how to prioritize my time, how to look after different tasks, how to manage that area of the supermarket. And that was a really awesome stepping stone that led me into a lot of different other roles. Such as I worked at 7-Eleven once, which was awesome. I worked as an auction reporter once. That was cool. I've been at the bank now for 4 years at time of recording, and worked through various roles to what I'm doing today. And again, it's all a step, it's a process, and just make sure with each role, make sure you're doing it, you're learning something. But when it's time, call time. I remember a couple, I think like 4 or 5 years into IGA, it was a great job. I learned so much, but I knew it was time that I learned all I'd learned, so that it wasn't pushing me anymore, and I had to call time on it. And so I want you guys to really reflect on the work you're doing as well. Is it where you want to be? Is it pushing you forward to that role or career option you want, maybe 2 or 3 jobs from now? And if it's not, think about, what else do I need to be looking for? Is there a new opportunity I need to pursue? So make sure what we're doing in our study and our work is intentional, is pushing us forward. But some practical tips as well around work and study is, let's say you work and you have a 3-hour shift. Make sure you're working 3 hours and not 3.5 hours. And if you're working 3.5 hours, you're getting paid overtime or OT. So make sure that you're not giving more time than you've been demanded of, and that you're being done right by your employer. That's very important and a very good time-saving thing to keep in the back of your mind. And more so than that as well, with your study, make sure you set study blocks. Let's say you have a 1 hour or 2 hour study block. Start to finish, focus on that study, do that, and then once you're done after 2 hours, move on to the next activity, and make sure that study is not consuming you. And I remember as a uni student, I'd often overstudy or not put an end time to, when I'd stop studying for a test, for example, or working on an assignment. And I'd be so nitpicky on how awesome and how much more I'd want to do. And don't get me wrong, you want to study, you want to do a good job, but make sure that you've put parameters and boundaries and you put time blocks so that you can be effective with your time in the other areas that you can invest in as well. So, as an action plan from today's video, I want us to really review the work and the study that you're currently doing and really see, is this where I need to be and what changes do I need to make? And then at a practical level, think about the blocks you can do around your study to be more effective, or even having a chat to your manager if you're being overworked, to make sure that if you're working 3 hours, you get paid the 3 hours and you're not staying for 3.5. So think of little things like that, guys. That's going to help you move forward, have purpose in everything you do in these purpose-driven areas, and also make the most of when you work and study. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today. Share with your friends, that helps me a lot. Leave comments below on what more you want to see, and reach out if you want to go deeper into understanding how you can better utilize my time. I'd love to help. But we'll see you in the next one, guys. You guys are champions. Take care.